Good morning. Today we're going to continue talking about how to solve linear equations in one variable. And we are going to focus on solving multi-step equations with variables on one side of the equation. In the next lesson, we'll talk about what to do when there are variables on both sides of the equation. So let's look at your packet. There are some steps in there, and I actually added a step in here that you'll see is a little different. But steps to solve multi-step equations. First, we're going to distribute through the parentheses. If there aren't parentheses, then skip it. And then focus on the left side and combine your like terms, and focus on the right side and combine your like terms. And then I want to collect all my variables on the same side. Remember, if I'm moving something or canceling something out, I have to do the opposite. I can't just combine them together if they're on opposite sides of the line. And then solve the remaining equation. So let's go ahead and get going through this. Okay, first example, I always like to draw my line through the equal sign. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here with my red line. So nice. That didn't work. Nice big red line. And my first step is typically to get rid of any parentheses. So I'm going to distribute through the parentheses. Well, there aren't any here. So I'm going to skip to the second step, which is to focus on the left side here and combine any like terms. So you'll notice I have negative 4n and positive 5n. Since they're like terms, I can combine them together. So negative 4 plus 5 is 1n, or just n. On the right side, I can't do anything to simplify, so I'm actually finished there. What I tend to see students do is they actually write the 1n, which is fine. Don't go ahead and divide by 1 because it takes extra time to get the same answer. Okay, so you need to know that 1n is the same as n. Okay, won't work you wrong if you write it there. Just make sure you understand that they're the same. Okay. Next problem, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line through the equal sign. We'll try a different line this time that's not so fat. There we go. And we are going to get rid of the parentheses if there are any, which in this case there are not. And then I'm going to focus on the left side only, and I notice that I can combine 8 and negative 4. Well, 8 and negative 4 is positive 4. Okay, then I'm going to look at the right side and see if I can simplify. In this case, I can't. And then I need to get my variables on the same side. For today, you don't need to do that step because there's only one side. And then we're going to solve. So if you remember back to the last lesson, I can't do anything with that negative 7 because I'm doing negative 7 times k and then plus 4. I need to work my way backwards. I need to do minus 4 on both sides. Show me that step. So I have negative 7k equals negative 28. And then divide by negative 7 on both sides. Watch your signs. Don't forget that negative there. It's extremely important. And then remember, a negative divided by negative is a positive, and 28 divided by 7 is 4. Okay, next problem. Drawing my line, first step is to eliminate your parentheses by distributing. So we are going to distribute 7 through our parentheses. Okay, you do have another option. You can actually divide by 7 like we did in the last lesson. It's completely up to you. It works both ways. Okay, so distribute my 7 through. Combine like terms on the left side if possible, which is not. Combine like terms on the right side if possible. Again, it's not. And then get your variables on the same side. We're okay there. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve. I'm going to subtract 35 from both sides, and for some reason my color changed. So I'm left with 14x equals 42. And then I'm going to divide by 14 on both sides to get x equals 3. Now remember when I plug that in that I can actually check my work by plugging it in. Okay, so if I get 77 here equals 77 there, I'm really happy. That means I got the answer right. Okay. Example 4. Okay, same thing. I'm going to put my line through the equal sign. First step is to distribute through my parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to multiply by negative 7. Watch your signs. So negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. Negative 7 times negative 5 is positive 35x. And I'm not going to multiply by the 8 because the 8 is not inside my parentheses. So I need to leave that where it's at. Next step is to simplify the left side, which I can't do. And then I'm going to combine like terms on the right side. So negative 7 plus 8 is positive 1. Okay, 35 comes straight down. Now let's solve. Subtract 1 from both sides, so I get 280 equals 35x. And then we are going to divide by 35 on both sides to get 8. Sorry, that's a 5 there. So I get 8 equals x, or x equals 8. Again, to check it, plug it in, make sure you get 281 on the right side. Okay. You do need to be able to use equations for certain problems, so let's do one application. Carl's parents give him an allowance every week, and he works part-time after school earning minimum wage. Each week, Carl deposits all of his earnings and allowance into his Chase savings account. Carl's weekly deposit can be modeled with the function d of h equals 8.25h plus 20. Determine how many hours Carl worked last week if he deposited $143.75. So notice, in the past, we would ask you to figure out how much you made if you had a certain number of hours. This is the total amount this time. So we're actually going to set this up as an equation. 143.75 equals 8.25h plus 20, and I'm going to solve it that way. Okay, so the big difference between this and our last unit is that we are not plugging the number in for h, we are going to solve to find h. So to do that, again, simplify the left side if you can, simplify the right side. Can't do anything there, so I'm going to go ahead and solve. I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides, so I get 123.75 equals 8.25h, and then I'm going to divide by 8.25 on both sides to get my final answer. So 123.75 divided by 8.25, whoops, there we go, is 15. So that means he worked 15 hours. Okay, I went through those fairly quickly, so if you have any questions, rewind, hit pause, raise your hand, ask a question. If you're okay, go ahead and try the practice for section 2.3. Have a great day.